Higher.
Ew.
Nearer.
Longer. Faster.
Cyflymach.
Gwrando.
Listen.
Engage. Cysylltu.
Cynrychioli.
Represent.
Good evening and welcome to our In Conversation With series. We're catching up with our 2020 award winners, finding out a little bit about their background in the sport and what they've been up to over the last 10 months and the challenges faced. So I'm delighted to be joined by Phil James, Track and Field Official of the Year, and also joining us tonight is Sue Hooper, our Officials Development Officer. So I'd just like to kick it off with, what's it like to receive the award, Phil?
I was shocked, actually. It was quite, it was a nice touch. So I do feel that there's more worthy people out there, because obviously I've been around for many years, but obviously with my work, it's taken me away from being doing a lot of hands-on work, and luckily I was able to help out, because the wonders of COVID meant 90% of my calendar had been wiped out, and I was able to assist and pull in equipment and expertise to try and help out where we could. So I was very fortunate to be able to do that, and I wasn't expecting anything, and it was a total shock to me when I had the email through, and I'm totally humbled by it.
No, we know you've helped a lot in the season and very worthy award winner. So starting off with, how did you get involved with Welsh Athletics?
Well, Sue will probably remember these days going back to when I was a youngster, actually competing as an athlete. I competed from the age of about 11 through to about 15, 16, and then lost the drive for competing. And as any good parent would do, would turn around and said, you're not going to be sat at home just watching TV. You can still come down the club on a Monday and a Thursday, help out. I got involved with doing a little bit of athletics coaching. But I would I say dragged, it's not the right word. I'd gone to some events, British League meetings with my parents. And in those times, I got involved doing radio operations, walking around the different field events, and getting who was in the first top 3 places to relay back to the announcers, such as Tigger and other people. So they could actually give semi-live commentary without having any of the expense that like the big showcase events do. But at least people in the stadium knew what was happening in the events. So from that, I started helping out on the track stands. And then at the age of 16, I think it was, I actually qualified as a track judge. And it went from there, doing meetings all over Wales, from the age of 16 right the way through till I still try and do what I can for the club, for Welsh Athletics, as and when I can. Obviously, with what's happened with my career as it's progressed.
Yeah. And yeah, I was just wondering, how has that changed, obviously, since you've been involved from the start? So, I guess a lot this season, really hands-on, leading the photo finish team at the events.
Yeah, well, it's been going back over the years. When I started as a track judge, and you had photo finish at only certain meetings. You had them at the Welsh Games, and like at Swansea, Cardiff, and Cwmbran were the only stadiums that actually had their own photo finish systems. And I'm going back before Leckwith was in the original location where the Cardiff City Football Club is. But I'm talking Cardiff Club was based at Maindy Stadium, and all the Cardiff home fixtures were Cumbrad had its own photo finish system, but based on a wet camera. So we were mixing chemicals. I was doing track judging for one event, and they were short-staffed up in the photo finish. I remember it vividly, but I think I had reduced the average age on the track stand quite considerably because only about 16. And Richie Jenkins turned around, who was the track referee at the time, and said, "Right, Phil, you're the youngest. Get upstairs. They need help. You're the youngest, and you're the fittest. You'll get there quicker." So, and ended up taking all my stuff, running up, and got involved with photo finish with the likes of Brian, Gwilym Evans. Sorry, not Gwilym Evans. Gwilym Jones back in the day, and got the bug. Brian, the other one who was up there was Frank Island. Was in the photo finish at the time. So there's quite a range of people, mainly timekeepers, who were involved with photo finish. And I got involved with the chemicals, and I jumped in both feet, loved it, and I got the bug. From that point on, I was doing more photo finish than I was doing track judging. Obviously, they brought in electronics, as in computer-based systems, and it moved forward. And basically, moving through the years with the photo finish systems, with the generations of computers, and how everything's developed, systems have gone leaps and bounds ahead of where we were carrying chemical tanks with fixer developer, 35mm sprocketless film, and a microfiche to read the film, whereas now you're working on computer-based systems where you get an image instantly and you can actually read it. So it's a lot cleaner. Some of the fun with the chemicals and things, health and safety would really cringe, knowing what we used to do in the day back 20 years ago with wet cameras. But the way I've moved forward is having the opportunity at a young age and being approached when I was 18 to actually go and work for what was then Seiko, but via HS Sports, who were hiring in systems to Welsh Athletics on a regular basis. And I went and did the Olympics and worked at, and I thought, oh, great, the Olympics. But I was actually working photo finish at flat water canoeing, so it was nowhere near the athletics track. But I was out there for a considerable amount of time, loved every minute of it. And since then, I've worked photo finish on, I think, all bar one world championship. So I've managed to see the globe, luckily, because I was in the right place, the right time, and I got offered and asked, and I haven't looked back, to be honest.
I say certainly some names from the past there, Phil.
Oh yeah. There's loads of people. One of the two key members in my track judging days were definitely Richie Jenkins, and the other one was Sam Davis. Was brilliant. The other one is Glenn Williams, who used to live in Llandaff North. And those sort of that era, we've lost so many good people over the years that were really top-end, high-class officials, and I'm just glad we still got a few within Wales who are up that level. The likes of Alan Curry and the likes of Richie, who've been around the globe doing events. That knowledge and experience is invaluable to the upcoming officials.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Well, Phil, we're both officials, as you know, and 2020 outdoor season wasn't a normal season for us. So what are the key things you've tried to keep consistent throughout this year to support competition, or the limited amount of competition we've had? Well,
the thing is that in some respects, with the events that we managed to get off the ground, with these pilot events that we did in Aberdare, with Aberdare, and where was the other ones we were doing? Swansea, of course. With trying to do those, was actually the photo finish side of things was very straightforward and very easy. It was basically, we tried to make a small bubble that we could do things, and I managed to utilize some LED screens that I know Welsh purchase now. That we could actually give the result instantaneously to give to the athletes. So you didn't have the paperwork being handed around. You didn't have athletes waiting. We were trying to get the result through and on a screen as fast as possible, because it meant there was none of this waiting, having to wait for results and things like that. So we trying to speed up the process, because we were looking at limited numbers in races, that we can actually say, yes, we've got 4 athletes in a sprint race. Those 4 athletes will be finishing. If we can't get those up before they've left the track, with where I am within photofinish, yes, I'm only a level 3 graded official, but with the amount of years experience I've got, if I can't get 3 athletes or 4 athletes up by the time they've grabbed their breath and turned round, I think I need shooting by a starter. It's trying to make the event fluid and move and do as much as we can to give the information to the athletes as possible, to try and help them, because it's hard enough for the officials who are unable to get out. I mean, you've got to have the 2-meter distancing, face masks, hand gel. You're doing all this. It's when you take a normal official, he's looking after a clipboard and pen. When you're talking on photofinish, you've got people who are handling keyboards, mice, instruments, and trying to make that all as, for want of a better phrase, I know it's one of the buzzwords of 2020, COVID secure. It was a long process to make sure that we only used one computer, we only had one person on that computer, and we rolled through it that way. And if we did change, we wipe everything down and make sure it was cleaned over, checked. But I wanted to use process to try and get some of the people who were coming to these events anyway. We had a very, very small bubble of people who were doing it, and to give them the confidence, because I know that within training, I know that we've been talking that we need to get more people trained within photofinish. If we move on to the field side of things, with where I am at the moment within Seiko, I had the ability and to bring in EDM instruments that we could then utilize those. Going on to, if we move on to where we were with field, with me working in the position I am with Seiko, we were looking, and everything during the summer period was working towards the UK Championships. We knew that a lot of the main track and field events that we would be doing globally had already been postponed or rescheduled or cancelled. But we were working towards the UK Championships. And to try and make that as COVID secure as possible, we actually looked along the lines of training up 2 of our Welsh officials that could come and work with me and actually operate the systems at the UK Championships. So it was a double-edged sword. I feel I'm cheating a little bit, because I got Chris Price and Jane Dakin to come along to those events, which one helped out what we were doing, but it also gave us the possibility for training with the current systems that we were using at the time, which meant that they had a refresh, because the last time they had seen them was probably a year to 18 months before going into the UK Championships. So that I could leave those 2 once they got to venue at the likes of at Manchester for the Championships, and said, "There's the 2 instruments. Go and set them up. You've done it enough. We've done 3 or 4 of these test events where I'd been there and supervised it, and said, right, there you go. Off you go. You go and do the long jump. Oh, sorry, you go and do the long jump. You go and do the hammer discus area, and away to go." But we positioned in Manchester all the EDM systems as far away from athletes' areas as possible. Long jump was in the stands, and so was the shot put, because it was away from any athletes, which made the operators COVID secure. So there was all these sort of things that were, in some respects, I hijacked the Welsh meetings, one to benefit me at the UK event, but it meant that we could get some training and get some decent tech to the Welsh meetings. But it's what I want to try and do is if I can help out, it's something, a way of me paying back to Welsh athletics and the sport when I can, because I know that if I hadn't have been doing a meeting in Wrexham for Welsh athletics, I would never have been approached to go and do the events in Barcelona.
Great.
So moving on, so what have you missed most about competitions? Not being able to run.
I haven't missed the headaches that come with them. The biggest thing is human interaction. I think I've been Zoomed, Teamed, and other processes out with everything, because normally I'm on Teams meetings back and forth to Japan with the guys with development we're doing out there, and with other parties around the globe with regard, because we can't do site visits. But I do miss being able to go down to the local track, help out at the meetings where I can, and basically sit down, have a cup of coffee, and chat to people, other human beings, about interests that we all like. Because I know the biggest thing is I've always been taught, if you don't enjoy it, why are you doing it? And I do enjoy going to local meetings because it's fun. We can have a laugh. We have a good banter. The comments, I know I get pulled to pieces about things I do on the radio, which aren't according to UK protocol, but I think it adds a bit of humour to the meeting and a humour to the events. And if you don't enjoy it and you're being too, there's a line about understanding and implementing the rules, but you've got to have a human face to be able to deal with the athletes. And if you can have that human side to be able to have a bit of a light-hearted joke and a laugh with the athletes, and understand it and say, look, this is the rule. It's like you've got to adhere to the rule, but also with your fellow officials, be able to have the laugh, the joke, the Mickey take, and have that banter that we all have. Sue knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
being on the end of being on the opposite end of a radio when I'm on an event. It's light-hearted, but it breaks the day up, and I really enjoy that sort of camaraderie that everybody has within the athletics community.
And I think you could, if you spoke to any official, I think that's one of the things they'd said is that banter and the interaction we've got, with each other, that we've all missed. Yeah. Anyway, Phil, again, as officials, as I know, we're always learning new things and developing. What has been your biggest learning curve? What's the biggest learning curve you've had?
Wow. There's been so many things I've had to learn from when I started as a, for want of a better word, young upstart, probably Richie Jenkins would call me. Back at the age of 16, learning about photofinish on the chemical side, learning about the computer side of things, the technology with the computer. Luckily, I was at the right age at the right time when the technology changed. I know there are people who have struggled with the technology, with the way the computer systems are moved. But luckily, I was in the right place at the right time, and I had a good understanding. But there is so many changes. Every day of the week, I'm learning something new about the sport and how we're implementing different things. Luckily for me, in some respects, I'm at the cutting edge of it now, working for Seiko and being the UK manager and overseeing the delivery of the World Athletics Series events. I think with the implementation of VDM, going back about 2013, when that's first came to the fore for long jump and triple jump, and then moving on to we're now doing shot put VDM, but everything is changing. The new rules with long jump coming in and having to implement that new technology, and being a technology company which strives in precision and moving forward to try and make sure that we are at the forefront. It's something that I can bring back to the local grassroots, as I call it, with Welsh Athletics. And I think I've got with the understanding of where I am, and I'm still trying to keep that home grounding, for want of a better phrase. I think it's something I can bring to the table and try and get back to the area. It's like the Welsh Championships, you've probably noticed not in 2019, but definitely in 2017, I managed to bring in a load of equipment for the Welsh Championships because we were testing. And I love the fact that I've got the relationship with Welsh Athletics, that I can turn around and say, look, we've got this new bit of kit we're developing for World Series events. I bring it along and put it in the background and run it in the background. And I've been able to do that at several Welsh events, which has been really, really good. And having the friendship and the camaraderie and the people in the background who manage these meetings and are willing for me to come and hijack it and bring the equipment and bring the new technology to introduce the level of the technology that we're going to be putting on the world stage before, and it's actually being used on Welsh Athletics, which is really makes me proud that we're able to do that. And it's a nice little way that we can build up on it and move forward with it.
Yeah, great. Anyway, following on from that, what would be your biggest tip to somebody thinking about joining the officials family?
Do it. Simple. Do it. If you enjoy the sport, there's a lot to learn. There's no getting away from that. But if you're someone who's an avid supporter of watching field events, to become a field judge, to be right in the thick of the action and understand the rules and understand why things happen in a certain way, I think it's really good, and it only bolsters the knowledge of the sport in the public. Going on to track and starting and everything else, it's no better way to be in the thick of it. I started off at 16. I'm now on a world stage on a regular basis. I'm one of the lucky few that can actually say that I go and deal with the likes of and talk to people like Seb Coe with regard to events. I can go and sit down with the technical team from World Athletics. It's just a mammoth. It's a huge family that within Welsh Athletics, you're a small cog in it, and then you grow bigger and bigger as you progress, and you work onto the UK stage. And sometimes the opportunities arise that you be able to come. You do get the ability to join teams to work worldwide.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I said same with myself as an official. Anyway, one of the things we don't say is when we're officiating and volunteering, we can be, say quite modest in what we do, and that can help out. What would you say has made we're making a difference? What would you say has been your proudest moment while you've been officiating?
Proudest moment as an official, probably being able to time some of the best athletes that Wales has produced over the years. Going back and Sally Ann Short, Helen Miles, Colin Jackson, and the like, and that era where we were in the class it as a golden era of Welsh athletics. I was lucky to have been in a position to be able to be part of those teams within Wales. So within Welsh athletics, the proudest moment for me is to be able to time those sort of athletes and have that to my resume. So that's been really good. The other one is there's two other parts that made me really proud. In 2016, just after I'd taken on the role as the manager within Seiko, looking after the World Series athletics events, I brought the World Championship half marathon service team to Cardiff. What can you say? You go to Portland and you do a World Indoor Championships. The following week, you're in Cardiff, your hometown, doing a global event. You can't be prouder than being in your hometown and being able to deal with the hometown event and knowing everyone, knowing the course inside out and back to front. That someone says it's on Allens Bank Road. When you go to some of these other countries, you don't know it, but being able to sit down and actually say to people like Steve Brace, to Matt Newman and everybody else involved with that team that I could talk to on first name terms before the event. Having that in my hometown was really, really made me proud, and made me proud to be able to stand there on the finish line, overseeing what we were doing as a timing company and time those elite athletes through that area. Even though the rain was horizontal, it was a really proud time to be able to be in the city with a lot of my colleagues that I bring from all over the UK and from Japan, to be able to say this is my hometown and be able to show it off and be a little bit proud. The other one was one of my big influences through my athletics career were my parents. My mother and father were massive influences in me becoming the official and the person I am today. My father was really instrumental with pushing me with the officiating side, with the photofinish. He wasn't an official. He was chairman of the club. He was chairman of the county, etc. But he knew that we needed the officials. My mother, on the other hand, was a stalwart of the Cardiff club and of the county. She made Cardiff a leader within the UK of event providing because she looked after the officials. She knew that she couldn't do events without the officials. And she knew that I'd gone through all my stuff with officiating. I hadn't gone to international events. I'd been to world championships, etc. Walking into meetings with into an athletic stadium in, say, Helsinki, and being able to take a program that you can get from the officials from the room where we are in our workshop, and being able to take it up to your mother in the stand to say, "There you go, Mum. I know you come to watch. Don't bother buying a program. Here you go." And being able to do that with World Indoors I've done it to Peter Morris and to John Penny, and taken them up into the stand and gone to meet them in the stand where I've been working but had the time to be able to go and see them. But my mother, the proudest moment was when I told her, it was literally days before she passed away, that I'd actually taken the job as the Seiko event manager. He was proud as a punch.
Yeah, no, I said I'm like you. I've got very, very fond memories of your mum and dad at that club. You know, having been a member since 1973, very fond memories of them. Yeah.
Okay, so now, you know, what are you looking forward most to in 2021?
I would have said, if you asked me this question a week ago, I'd have said getting out there, getting onto events and getting to like the British Championships, the World Indoors, not so much a week ago, but beginning of the year. But obviously, this ravage that is COVID is making a massive effect. Everybody can keep safe, keep doing what I know that there's a lot of people who are saying the government aren't doing enough, but I think people need to be doing more, and I think we need to protect ourselves as well as everybody else. And I really desperately want to see some athletes on tracks, the athletes in a circle for doing hammer, discus, the javelin throwers, and all the athletes and high jumpers, etc., out on the track and field to actually get some sport going. I think it must be really, really difficult for them. I know that I bumped into Jack Palmer the other week in a supermarket, and I asked him how he was getting on with his training, and he was just saying virtually non-existent, because he can't get in a throwing circle because they're not open in Wales. I know he's looking to try and get to Loughborough, and I really, really feel sorry for people like him who are looking towards the Commonwealth Games in 2022, and are trying to progress themselves. It's a massive knock-on. Yes, officials, we go and we do an event once a week, once a month, whatever, and we turn up and we do our job. We haven't got to prepare for that in the way the athletes have. And the athletes to have the rug pulled from underneath them for all these events, I really, really feel sorry for them. But I really do hope we can get some events on the track and on the field in the near future, because I think it's for sanity of people. Plus, I do think that in some respects, the level of officiating, because people will be rusty when we get back, and that doesn't concern me, but I think people need to get back out there. And I think wanting to have a British Championship when people aren't doing the grassroots stuff will have a knock-on effect.
Yeah, I can agree with you, Phil. I'm sort of, oh my God, what do I need to do when I get back out there? You sort of look around. I haven't done this for a couple of months. But
can you remember where the start line is?
Well, it's a white thing on the track, I think.
Lots of white lines.
But there again, the starters are a little bit worse off than starters assistants because they just follow us around.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
At least with photo finish, I've only got to worry about one finish line, or on an indoors too.
But then depending on the wind, isn't it?
Well, that's another whole debate.
We won't go into that one.
So I just want to say thank you for your time this evening. It's been much appreciated. And I hope this gives an insight into the opportunities, for new officials joining the sport, listening to your experiences, Phil. And I hope I'll be able to see you both in the future in person at a competition soon. So thank you both.
Thanks.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Zoe.